Whispers of the Nile. In the ancient land of Egypt, around 1250 BCE, during the reign of Pharaoh Ramesses II, the Nile River stood as the lifeblood of a thriving civilization, carving a fertile path through the unforgiving desert. This era, known as the New Kingdom, marked a time of grandeur and power, with monumental temples and pyramids rising under the pharaoh's command. Yet, beneath the surface of this golden age, the people lived in constant reliance on the Nile's unpredictable floods, their lives governed by the divine order of Ma'at, balance and harmony upheld by the gods. It was in this world of scorching sands, sacred rituals, and whispered omens that young Khepri and his father, Ptahhotep, would face a challenge that could either preserve or shatter the destiny of their people. The Nile cleaved Egypt's blistering desert like a vein of molten life. 13-year-old Khepri lived in a mud brick cluster outside Memphis, where date palms sagged under a merciless sun and the air tasted of dust and brackish water. His father, Ptahhotep, served as scribe to Pharaoh Ramesses II, his name uttered with reverence, as if it were a god's. Khepri ground ink from charred reeds each dawn, his heart thrumming with the dream of writing on papyrus. But lately, the village quivered with dread. Fields crisped into straw, fish bloated and bobbed belly up in the Nile's shallows, and every whispered wind carried rumors of a curse. Some claimed the Great Sphinx near Giza glared down with wrathful eyes, ready to unleash its fury. One dusk, Ptahhotep returned from the palace, his linen kilt sodden with sweat, his face drawn tight as a funerary mask. He collapsed beside their reed mat.
"Khepri,"
he rasped, unrolling an ancient sheet of papyrus whose edges curled like dying leaves.
"The priests have read the stars, and the river's ebb, and both weep with warning. This
He pressed a brittle finger on a cryptic illustration.
reveals a sealed chamber beneath the Sphinx hidden since the first pharaohs. Inside is a power that could shatter Egypt's Mayat, our cosmic order."
Khepri's pulse thundered. The Sphinx was stone, wasn't it?
What omens?
He whispered, voice fragile.
Blood-red dawns, floodwaters receding into shadow, the stars unaligned.
Ptahhotep's eyes glowed with a fierce trust.
"I choose you, Khepri. The gods choose us."
Before sunrise, they loaded a skiff with flatbread, sun-dried figs, and a clay jar of Nile water. Khepri's mother, Meret, pressed a turquoise scarab into his palm.
"This will be your guide."
She choked. He nodded, knuckles whitening as they slipped onto the sluggish current that pulled them toward an unknown doom. At midday, they landed on the Giza Plateau. The Sphinx towered before them, its limestone face pockmarked by centuries of windstorms. Its gaze seemed to bore into Khepri's soul. Behind it, the pyramids gleamed like incarnation of blazing stars. Ptahhotep spread out the papyrus again.
"The entrance lies by the forepaw,"
He murmured.
"Look for a stone slab etched with a reed."
They waited until the guards cowered in the cooler tents, then sank to their knees in shifting sand. Hours passed in bone-splintering scrapes as Khepri's hands bled from the rough stone. At last, they exposed a slab bearing a faint reed carving. With a groan of ancient hinges, Ptahhotep pried it aside, revealing a yawning tunnel reeking of damp earth and deathless time. Khepri hesitated on the threshold.
Father, what if...
"Surrender to duty."
Ptahhotep said, striking a clay lamp to life. Its flame trembled but held firm.
We serve Egypt beyond fear.
Inside, the passage constricted. Every breath drew in clammy chill. Loose stones slithered beneath their sandals. Flickering lamplight cast reptilian shadows on walls etched with ibis, serpents, and countless watchful eyes. A low hum crawled up Khepri's spine, as if the very stones whispered warnings. When the passage finally disgorged them into a vaulted chamber, the lamp's glow revealed faded murals. Anubis solemn in ebony, Osiris draped in jade, Sekhmet's lioness Fury painted in russet. In the center rose a limestone pedestal, atop which sat a black obsidian box carved with one unblinking eye. Khepri's heart jackhammered. The hum swelled until his temples throbbed. Ptahhotep stepped forward, then froze. A figure materialized from the shadows. Meron, the temple priest, his shaved scalp gleaming, bronze dagger glinting like menace.
Stop!
His voice slithered through the air.
This isn't your prize, Ptahhotep.
You,
Ptahhotep's words caught in his throat. Meron's grin was savage.
Ramesses hoards power while Egypt withers. That box commands the floods. With it, I will bend the river and the people to my will.
Terror rocketed through Khepri. If Meron mastered the Nile, villages would drown or starve. Ptahhotep raised pleading hands.
this betrays the gods.
The gods are silent!
Meron snarled, lunging with blade raised. Instinct overrode fear. Khepri seized a jagged stone and hurled it. It struck Meron's wrist. The dagger clattered away. Meron howled, pivoted on Khepri, but Ptahhotep tackled him, pins him against the wall.
Run, Khepri.
He bellowed.
Take the box.
Khepri's fingers curled around the obsidian. It felt oppressively heavy, like the desert night itself. He stumbled back, but Meron freed one arm and slammed Ptahhotep aside. Khepri froze, the box alone in his arms, his father crumpled in the sand. Then he saw it. Faint grooves on the floor linking the gods' images in a perfect circle. His grandmother's whispers stirred in his memory. The gods united to uphold Ma'at. The chamber was a crucible.
Father!
He screamed.
The gods! The circle!
Ptahhotep lurched up, snatched the lamp, tears of relief in his eyes.
The pedestal.
Khepri flung the box back into its slot. Ptahhotep splashed lamp oil around it, struck flint. Flames roared to life, licking the walls. The murals flared in garish clarity. The hum crescendoed into a deafening chant. Meron screamed, clutching his ears, backing into a plume of wind that tore around the chamber, snuffing out the flames. Dust swirled. When it settled, Meron had vanished. Only his dagger lay half buried in sand. The obsidian's eye had dimmed. Its threat ended. Ptahhotep gathered Khepri in a trembling embrace.
You were brave, my son.
He whispered, voice raw.
You saved us all.
Khepri's limbs trembled.
I just threw a rock.
And trusted the gods.
Ptahhotep corrected, smiling despite exhaustion. They wrapped the box in linen and propelled themselves into the night, collapsing beneath the Sphinx's silent vigil. By dawn, they delivered the relic to the high priest in Memphis, who locked it away in a sealed vault. Within days, the Nile rose, crystal clear, and green shoots pierced the earth. The curse was broken. Khepri became a scribe of renown, his reed pen carving stories of gods and men. He wore the scarab amulet always, its surface polished by years of clutching. When his own children pressed him for its tail, he spoke of the night he faced betrayal under the Sphinx's gaze.
Egypt endures on Ma'at,
He'd say, pointing to the river.
and sometimes even a boy can stand for order against the darkest storm.
The Nile flowed on, bearing Egypt's secrets, while the Sphinx watched in eternal calm, its stone heart at last at peace. Blistering, extremely hot or intense. The blistering sun made it hard for Khepri to work outside. Brackish, slightly salty as water near the sea. The brackish water of the Nile tasted strange to Khepri. Cleaved, split or divided sharply, the Nile cleaved the desert, creating a green path. Cryptic, mysterious or hard to understand. The cryptic symbols on the papyrus confused Khepri. Disgorged, emptied out or released. The tunnel disgorged them into a hidden chamber. Ma'at, the ancient Egyptian concept of truth and order. Khepri knew saving the box would restore Ma'at to Egypt. Pockmarked, covered with small pits or scars, the pockmarked face of the Sphinx showed its age. Reverence, deep respect or admiration. The people spoke of Ramesses with great reverence,